Mirror image. Claire had always felt like something was missing. Growing up as an only child, she often fantasized about having a sibling, a twin, to be precise. She read stories about twins and watched movies about their unique bond, imagining what it would be like to have someone who understood her completely. One crisp autumn day, while rummaging through the attic, Claire stumbled upon an old, dusty photo album. She flipped through the yellowed pages, recognizing pictures of her parents when they were young. But as she turned to the last page, her heart nearly stopped. There, staring back at her, was a photograph of two identical baby girls. One was unmistakably Claire, but the other, who was she? Claire rushed downstairs, clutching the photo, and confronted her mother. "Mom, who is this? Why didn't you ever tell me I had a twin?" Her mother's face went pale. She took a deep breath and sat down, motioning for Claire to do the same. "It's time you knew the truth," she began, her voice trembling. "You did have a twin sister, but she died shortly after birth. It was too painful for us to talk about, so we never did." Claire was shocked. She had always felt an inexplicable connection to someone she couldn't see or touch, but she had never imagined it was her twin. That night, she couldn't sleep. Her mind raced with questions and a strange sense of longing for the sister she never knew. As the weeks passed, Claire couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. She would catch glimpses of a shadow moving just out of sight, hear faint whispers in the dead of night, and see fleeting reflections in mirrors that vanished when she looked directly at them. One evening, while brushing her teeth, Claire glanced at the bathroom mirror and froze. Her reflection smiled back at her, but she wasn't smiling. Her reflection's eyes were cold, and the smile was sinister. "Who are you?" Claire whispered, her voice barely audible. The reflection's smile widened. "I'm your sister, Claire. You left me behind, but I found my way back." Claire stumbled back, her heart pounding in her chest. This can't be real, she thought, but the evidence was staring her in the face. She turned and ran from the bathroom, her mind racing with fear and confusion. Over the next few days, the encounters with her reflection grew more frequent and more terrifying. Her sister, her evil twin, seemed to be gaining strength. Claire could feel her presence growing stronger, taking over her life. One night, Claire woke to find her reflection standing at the foot of her bed. She couldn't move, couldn't scream. The reflection spoke in a voice that was both hers and not hers. "You took my life, Claire. Now it's my turn to live." Claire felt a cold hand grip her ankle, and she was dragged from the bed. She fought against the invisible force, but it was too strong. She was pulled into the bathroom, where the mirror glowed with an eerie, otherworldly light. "Let me go," Claire screamed, but her pleas were met with cruel laughter. "You can't escape me," her twin hissed. "I am you. We are one." With a final, desperate cry, Claire was pulled into the mirror. She felt herself falling through a void, the world around her growing dark and cold. When she opened her eyes, she was standing in a dimly lit room, identical to her own, but everything was reversed. The air was thick with a sense of dread, and she knew she was no longer in her world. She turned to see her twin standing beside her, no longer a reflection but a real, tangible being. "Welcome to my world," her twin said, a triumphant gleam in her eyes. This is where you will stay, while I take your place in the real world. Claire lunged at her twin, but her hands passed through her as if she were made of smoke. Her twin laughed, a sound that echoed through the darkened space. There's no use fighting, Claire. This is my world now. In the real world, Claire's parents noticed a change in their daughter. She was colder, more distant, her once warm and vibrant personality replaced by a sinister presence. They chalked it up to the stress of learning about her twin, but deep down, they knew something was terribly wrong. Claire, trapped in the mirror world, could only watch as her twin lived her life, manipulating and destroying everything she had built. She screamed and pounded on the glass, but no one could hear her. As the days turned into weeks, Claire's hope began to fade. She was a prisoner in her own home, forced to watch her twin wreak havoc on her life. She knew there was no escape, no way to return to the world she once knew. And so, she remained, a silent witness to her own destruction, forever trapped in the dark reflection of her life. The evil twin had won, and Claire's existence became a nightmare from which she could never wake.